and welcome back to the Rearview podcast. We're back for another day, another week, and we are still going. The Australian Grand Prix has been and gone, and Reece, we have a race to talk about.
We have a
How
race.
exciting.
We're still here as well. Third
We're
week.
still going.
Week 3. We're late, okay?
We're late.
But that is because it was an early get-up. We've slept. We've done a lot of sleeping.
A lot of sleeping.
Now we're recording. We will caveat this by saying that this is a nighttime record, and we both have kind of stressful jobs. So we might not be,
Late night loving?
Well, I'll tell you what, after the way that McLAREN ran that race, I don't think there's any late night loving at all.
Yeah, look, there's lots to talk about, lots to get into. Before we do, Reece, get up to much of the weekend?
I kind of went to see you. Which was absolutely
nice.
lovely. We had a bit.
Did we miss each other, or
what?
Did we miss each other?
Miss? Sorry, I thought you said kiss. It was good. I thoroughly enjoyed my time at your house. We watched the race together, which was lovely. We've not done that really since university, so that was absolutely incredible. A good weekend was had by all, I think.
Indeed it was. Yeah, we went to the football as well, didn't we? And I'd like to caveat something quickly. Last week I mentioned, which side is it on? This side. This shirt behind me, I'm not an Everton fan.
Yep.
I want to make that perfectly clear.
Does that mean you're a Wayne Rooney fan then?
I respect him. I think he's done great things for our great nation. And, he's a very big footballer, and he signed that bit of canvas. Well, shirt. What's it made of?
Yeah, I think a shirt's shirt, isn't it?
He made
Cotton.
Yeah. It's signed by Wayne Rooney. That's why it's on my wall. I'm a Wolves fan. There's the thumbnail. I'm a Wolves fan.
I was going to say, thumbnail that, please. Anyways, enough football chat. People aren't here for the football chat.
Yes.
We, before Australia, before we decided to wake up at silly o'clock in the morning, we had some predictions, Tom.
Oh, we did.
How did they go?
And I kind of talked about it last week, but we've kind of built out a little bit more. We said we were going to keep a leaderboard. We were going to keep a score of how we all get on in the predictions this season. Now, Reece, do you remember your predictions for the race this
I don't remember
weekend?
them, but I can definitely flick back and see them.
Okay, well, no, I'll tell you what. I've got them written down here, so
Okay.
I'll remind you.
Hit me with them.
Okay. Now, you were very confident of a little bit of Mercedes dominance.
Yes.
Which, as we'll get on to, came true.
Thank you.
Now, you had pole position.
Yep.
George Russell.
Tick.
That's a big 3 points.
Is that 3 points?
I'll preface the way that this is going to work. So we predict a pole position and a podium.
Yeah, I need to know the points.
If you get it spot on, you get 3 points. If you get it one place out, close, so being just on the podium but not in the place you picked them, you get 1 point.
Okay.
If they're not on the podium, 0 points. Okay.
Yeah.
So if the driver you've got to come third wins the race, you still get a point because you thought they'd be on the podium.
Perfect.
Okay, so you got 3 points for George Russell pole position.
Perfect.
You then got 3 points for George Russell win.
Come on.
And you then got an extra point.
Okay.
Because you had Charles Leclerc second. Ooh. And Charles Leclerc came third.
Yes.
No Kimi Antonelli on there, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, I went Hamilton, didn't I?
No, you went Max Verstappen.
Did I?
You went Max Verstappen, and to be fair, so did I. So
how are your points looking? So I've got a grand total of 7?
You're on 7 points.
Okay.
And that's how you got a bit of a healthy lead.
Ooh.
Now, you might remember I got a bit carried away last week with my predictions. I thought this was going to be the second coming of Lewis Hamilton.
Yep.
He was back, baby. And he wasn't off. I think it's probably the best Lewis we've seen for a while this weekend, but he wasn't really challenging Charles or the Mercedes.
Yeah, I'll describe Lewis this weekend as the milk that you've left out on the side in the morning because you've made a cup of coffee. Then you go about your day and you come back at tea time, you smell it, and you're like, that's on the turn. But it's not quite off yet.
It's not quite gone yet. You could probably make another brew with that.
Yeah, be brave, have a couple of lumpy bits, you sound.
That's a TikTok clip if I've ever heard one. What an analogy. Lewis Hamilton's like milk that's on the turn. I said it would be a Lewis Hamilton pole position. And so unfortunately, that's 0 points for me.
Mm-hmm.
I also then said he wouldn't win the race.
So.
And I said George Russell would win the race. So that's 3 points.
3 points. 3 big points.
Second place, I did say Lewis Hamilton again, so no points to me there. And my third place, again, was Max Verstappen. We really didn't rate Kimi Antonelli's chances, did we, going into this weekend? Bless him. But, of course, the actual result was George Russell pole, George Russell win, Kimi Antonelli second, Charles Leclerc third. So, yes, you're right, Reece. That leaves you on 7 points, me on 3 points. But, look, it's a long season. That's the start.
And we did say last week, didn't we, that we're winning £100 out of the Rearview bank account.
Yeah, because that doesn't exist, so I'm fine to agree to that. Yeah, that's fine.
Well, as managing director of the Rearview, which I think you are.
Oh, I'll put that on my LinkedIn.
Put it on, please. I will happily. Should we talk about the big talking points of this?
Should we get on to the bloody race? Look, we've got, like we said last week, all new regulations, all new cars. A couple new drivers, one new driver in Arvid Lindblad. But we've got lots to talk about because it's been an exciting race. And I think there's lots of talking points and things you can take away from this race, positives, negatives. Reece, I'll let you make a start. What's your first talking point you want to discuss today?
So I want to rewind, like Craig David once said, and go back to qualifying before the race. Max Verstappen on his first competitive lap, his first time actually racing that Red Bull, straight into the wall. And I've got it down
much
here.
Happening for him.
I've got it down here. There wasn't much Verstappen in for him.
That's what I just said.
Oh, is it? Ah, sorry.
Are you joking? That's staying in. What?
I've got down here that the car didn't shift the brake bias, but when I sent you my pre-podcast notes, you very kindly informed me that I was an idiot.
Where did you get that info from?
I've just thought that was what happened.
Okay, right. Look, it might have been. I'm not an engineer. I'm pretty sure it was more related to the new ERS systems in the car, by the sounds of it, because like the way that the regenerative braking work, I think it like just locked his rear axle. I don't think it was anything to do with him or the brake bias or anything like that. I think the car took itself out in turn one because of the brake bias locking the rear axle. I assume something similar
You've
probably happened to
brake
Piastri.
bias again.
I meant ERS. All right, you've put it in my head now. Electronic recovery system, energy recovery system, something like that.
Yep.
I think that's kind of what caused it, rather than him or a driver error. Yep. I think something similar, like I say, might have occurred pre-race as well with Oscar bending it into the wall. We'll obviously get to that in a little bit more detail soon when we discuss the infamous Aussie curse.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it was unfortunate for Max. Let's talk about qualifying as a whole, away from just Max's incident. What did you think about it?
I thought it was a pretty good quali.
Did you?
The problem that I had was the Ferrari was looking faster on the mediums than the softs.
It did. Yeah, that was a whole point in Q1. They're on the mediums. For me, I think the big takeaway is I just don't think the cars look good. The emphasis, what qualifying should be, right? And what it has been for the last 75 odd years of Formula One.
Yep.
Drivers on the limit, pushing their cars for everything they've got to get the fastest lap around the track.
Yep.
So to see drivers approaching the end of a straight before turns 10 and 11, or the big S's, I don't know exactly what turns they are, but some of the fastest, most exciting corners on the calendar to watch, cars flying through that chicane, to see them lifting off just felt so unnatural and dare I say a bit embarrassing for Formula One.
We turned to each other at that stupidly 3 o'clock in the morning, was it? 4?
Yeah.
Whenever it was. Stupid. It's still the last day. But we turned to each other and went, is there a problem with that? Because I think it was the first lap. I don't remember who set the first lap, but it was the first lap when you heard the car going from full throttle to It was, that is mental. I think quali
really
was
weird.
To caveat it was a good quali. It was a competitive quali. I enjoyed it how competitive it was. I didn't enjoy the fact that the cars couldn't push like they did last year.
Yeah. Yeah, I think definitely from that front, that's probably true. And, I think, to be honest, the competitive nature of it and the fact that these cars are so unrefined is probably a good word to use for it. Like, these are new regulations and these guys are still learning to drive them. Also helped and led to a lot of kind of the more exciting cinema moments you got on Sunday.
Yep.
But I think it's definitely something we'll see change, and it probably won't last forever. I think give it a few races, the drivers will get used to how to drive these cars, and it'll probably go away. We probably won't be talking about drivers, decelerating into corners and things like that by the end of the season so dramatically. But it definitely felt weird watching it, and I think like the biggest, most evidential point of it is the quality time differences between this season and last season.
Yeah, do you have
they were doing like a 1:15, and this season they did just into the 1:18s.
Yeah.
Some drivers didn't get into the 1:18s.
And we're talking 3 seconds slower for the fastest driver, which is, I mean, to normal, to everyday life standard, that's not bad. To F1 standards, wow, those cars are slow.
I think the main takeaway for me from it was, and I think it depends how you look at Formula One, because Formula One can be looked at through two lenses, right? The fastest cars in the world going as fast as they possibly can with the best drivers.
Yep.
Or the best drivers in the world racing against each other competitively. And I think that is probably more what these regulations are trying to accept. And I think we saw that. I mean, the stats didn't lie, did they? I think it was 45 to 120 overtakes in the Grand Prix from last year to this year. So, okay, they're 3 seconds a lap slower, but there's a lot more racing happening. So is that a positive? Is that what they try to achieve? Well, I assume so,
let's get into that, not to point with my pen, but let's get into that in a bit more detail once we get to the actual race. Because before the race, there was, as you referred to, an Aussie nightmare, and that would have been Oscar Piastri crashing on the way to the grid. To very quickly go back, to qualifying, Carlos Sainz. Very, very quickly, I do apologise. I tried to skip forward and remembered my point. Carlos Sainz didn't really set a lap, didn't go out the garage. No one still understands why.
No, I do. Ted mentioned it in his quality note, but in FP3, Sainz had an ERS failure, which they couldn't repair for qualifying. Okay.
So moving on to, because I sound like an idiot now, moving on to Oscar and his crash. What a weird way to start, to not start your home Grand Prix.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think he'll be obviously gutted because he's still not had a good performance in Australia. He had the whole fiasco of sliding out onto the grass last year and losing what could have been his first win of the season, let alone first podium finish for an Australian driver, which is crazy. That's never happened. It's not exclusive to Piastri. Ricciardo never did well in Australia. Webber never did well in Australia. It's a tough circuit, apparently, if you're an Australian driver. I'm not sure why, but I mean, it's apparently something to do with cold tyres coming out of the pits, but also it's been reported there was like a 100 kilowatt extra surge of power coming into the car as he was going through that corner, which naturally caused him to lose it. And to get that on your lap to the grid is really odd. And I'll give it to Oscar, because the obvious thing to say as a driver is, oh yeah, it wasn't my fault, the car took it away from me. But he's also taken a bit of blame himself. He's kind of said, look, I used that exit curb all weekend, I didn't need to. He's kind of said that he feels that he's not solely irresponsible for that occurring, and if he hadn't have driven the way he had, it wouldn't have happened, whatever. But it's gutting for him. Although, as a silver lining, I think you could probably say he wasn't really in contention for anything in that race anyway, if you look at how Lando did. Exactly.
But talking about Oscar, that brings me on to, and I want a jingle for this. I'm wanting a jingle. It's going to be Reese's Funny of the Week.
All right, send it over once you've made it.
Yep. I want to pause like this. And I'm like...
Reese's Funny of the Week.
And I went to say Reese's Funny of the Week. A little bit of behind-the-scenes admin there for you guys. Okay?
You get on that.
Yeah, but you send over the raw files, and I will do it. So Reese's Funny of the Week is the guy in the crowd who watched the crash on the big screen, and this was his reaction.
I'm getting a refund.
Yeah, I don't think he's getting that refund.
Nah, that concludes Reese's Funny of the Week, although it's really funny.
It is funny. It's a great quote. I sent that to you, didn't I? On Sunday after the race. Some of these clips of it all going out afterwards came out, but I mean, you get it, don't you? If you've gone to your home Grand Prix to watch your home hero who's just, been fighting for a championship with the Constructors champions, you expect him to be, going for a win in front of you.
You expect him to make the formation lap, Tom. You expect him to make the formation lap.
I'd love to see what he lodged in that complaint for a refund. I'd love to know a bit more details about that because I don't think they will class that as a refund.
Yeah.
Listen, look, poor Oscar. It's a tough start to the season for him, but I think it could get worse because, look, we're both sat here in our McLaren tops, aren't we? Well, that McLaren, best of the rest.
Yeah, you it's hard, isn't it? Because we had a race, obviously. Hadjar went out in that race. Oscar went out in that race. It'll be interesting to see where the Red Bull and where the McLaren place once those two are kind of fighting fit, if you will.
I think it's, yeah. I mean, we didn't see what Max had, but on pace before Hadjar went out, he was faster than Lando. He looked better than Lando.
Yep.
Even like Lindblad in the Racing Bulls was giving him a bit of hassle for a little bit.
So this is in my notes here. Sorry, this is in my notes here where I've said that Lindblad raced really well for the first 15 laps, and then I think he used all of his battery. And I think that's something that these drivers really need to focus on.
Yeah, it felt a little bit. I think you used the analogy on Sunday, like at the start of a marathon when someone just absolutely bolts it off the line and then gets a massive lead at the start, and then everyone else catches up when he runs out of puff. It looked a little bit like that. But, I'd like to see how he keeps going. I'm excited to see what Lindblad can offer, and he's obviously coming out of the blocks punching. You compare his performance to Lawson's, and he was better. Like you can't deny it. He got points on his debut. I think he'll be happy with the result. Mm-hmm. But, it was a tough race. And to add to that point, when Max did eventually come through the pack, he didn't roll over for him. He gave him a battle, and I respect that.
Well, you were sat next to me going, does he know who he's racing? Does he know what's going on here? This is Red Bull's glory boy. What's going on? Why is what?
Yeah.
And to be fair, we've seen that that second team roll over a million times for the lead driver. Once the golden boy comes through, we'll just get out of your way. Sorry, mate. It was refreshing. It was nice. It was lovely to see a young, hungry man fighting technically the wily, older gentleman in Max Verstappen, even though he's still really young and it's embarrassing.
Yeah, but look, I mean, not to skip around it too much. We've kind of spoken about McLaren as little as we can there. I think we need to give it a little bit more time. It's not looking good, is it? And I think for the reigning two-time Constructors champion to come into a season, I think over 40 seconds off the leader at the end of the race, that is not. I mean, and using the same engine as well. There's a lot of question marks there, isn't there, for McLaren, surely?
So what I will say is that my outrageous take before the start of the season, I think that's looking more on. Lando Norris will leave McLaren. The car's not under him.
I just don't know.
The car's failing him.
I do remember it now.
But not only is the car failing him, they've got Mercedes, who is obviously their engine partner, has given them an engine and gone, figure it out, guys. Do you know what I mean? Hence why you've got all the people in the factory. I get it. That's why you employ all the mechanics. That's why you are a multi-million-pound company. I get it. However, why would you risk each regulation change, each season, each time something different happens, why would you risk that being in just a customer team when you can be in a manufacturer team and get the best out of what is built instantly?
Yeah, you're not wrong. But I think there should be some responsibility on the supplier, because McLaren are paying them a lot of money for those engines. It's not, it's not a favour they're doing them. They're paying for those. And I think it's been revealed, or I think you even mentioned it the other week, that the spec of engine that Mercedes are running in testing and, in all 3 tests, was a different spec to the engine they gave to McLaren, Alpine and Williams.
Yeah.
So Mercedes have had these engines longer. They've got more data on them, and they've rocked up to Melbourne. The data that McLaren and all the other Mercedes customer teams had on those engines, they've gone, oh yeah, sorry lads, actually we've got an updated package. And it's completely different to the one you've used a couple of weeks ago. So you're going to have to relearn how to use that. Meanwhile, we're going to go ahead with our 40-second advantage.
Well, to go with my really stupid analogies that I like doing, it's like giving your granddad an iPod Shuffle and then giving him the brand new iPhone and going, oh, it's the exact same thing, granddad. Get on with it. Use it.
That might be a bit of a stretch of an analogy. Maybe an iPod Touch. Maybe an iPod Touch.
I don't know.
It's like using like iOS 13 and then giving someone running the latest version. I don't know.
I prefer my analogy.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
Look, McLaren's got a lot of homework to do. They've got a lot of work to do to catch up. At the moment, they're not there. And I think they are currently 4th. And I know that's where you put them last week in your standings. I wanted to put them a bit higher than that. But at the moment, it's a clear and above. It's Mercedes, Ferrari a little bit behind them, Red Bull a little bit behind them, McLaren a little bit behind them, probably a bit more than the other 3 are from each other.
I think the other main team, sorry, just sticking on this weekend, I think the other main team that will be really disappointed are Williams.
Yeah, I think it's tough because they had such a good year last year, and that I put them in as my underachiever, didn't I? I thought they'd be able to do something despite missing a bit of testing, but it didn't look it this weekend. I think it's going to be a battle between them and Cadillac as to who finishes ahead of that Aston Martin.
Yeah, and they're suffering big time. Speaking of the Aston Martin very quickly, Lawrence was interviewed by Martin Brundle on the grid walk. Not that I woke up for the grid walk, I just watched it on a replay because not a chance. And Lawrence in his very cocky, arrogant voice, he sounds more English than me, even though he's not. Lawrence said in his very cocky voice, yes, we're going to race, and that's our plan. And Martin went, well, when do you see these problems getting fixed? That's my Martin Brundle impression. And he went, as soon as possible, and walked off.
I mean, if there's a man who's got the money to put behind it, it's him, isn't it? But unfortunately, I don't think the issues of this car is Aston Martin's, it's Honda's.
I don't think the issue's money either.
No, quite. The only thing, and Ted mentioned this in his post-race notebook, that he can imagine doing to fix this is if they go to Audi and make a deal with them, because they haven't got any customers yet.
Yeah, I could see it.
The engines have been homologized, so I don't know if they'll be able to use an engine changed mid-season. I don't think that's possible. I think that the gearboxes and everything will be set up for these Honda engines now, but homologized. And what's the word?
Don't ask me. I'm dyslexic, Tom.
It's one of them. But, look, I think they'll definitely be assessing their options. And I imagine there'll definitely be some clauses in the contract that say, if we don't have X performance, we can cut this deal.
What's the shortest manufacturer to customer? Is it just a season? Because they normally sign 3-4 seasons, don't they?
What do you mean, sorry? So,
like, for Aston Martin, if they are wanting to drop it, would they be the first team to drop it within a year, sort of thing, or has it happened prior?
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, back in the day, engine manufacturers used to change quite a lot more, so there's probably historic records of that occurring, but
at least in recent time, it'll be the first time it's been like a 3-year deal that's not lasted. The deal.
I think so. Yeah, it's been a long time since that's been the case. I mean, probably the most recent torn up agreement I can think of is Red Bull Renault.
Yeah.
The whole Drive to Survive Cyril and Christian Horner drama that we saw. that saw them take on the Honda engines, ironically.
Very true.
But I think that's a very different situation. I mean, I don't really understand how they've let this happen. And like I think you mentioned the other day, like it seems like there is a lapse of responsibility at Aston Martin because they signed this deal with Honda, but didn't seem to actually be chasing them up on how they were doing with the engine until last season.
Yeah, so the start that I read was it was October last season that they decided, oh, we better go and see how this engine's getting on, for them to be surprised that only 40% of the staff was remaining that was there that built the Red Bull car. So two things there. One, why are your seniors, why your higher ups leaving it so late to go check on what should be your career title winning engine? No one's putting an engine into F1 and going, we're not going to win with this. Okay, you are thinking this will be our year and we'll do it with this engine. Number two is, what do you expect? Red Bull made a deal with Ford. They are going to poach anyone and everyone.
Absolutely. I don't know if in Lawrence Stroll's mind, the way he saw this going is, oh, that Red Bull is the best car on the grid. Let's sign their designer and let's sign their engine partner. And then we'll be as good as them.
I think that's exactly what he's done. He's got 50 quid notes and gone, there we go, bye-bye, thank you.
And unfortunately, it turns out it wasn't just Adrian Newey in Honda. There was a lot of other people in that team that made that thing work. And now they're finding out that if you just take those two people or those two, organizations, you still have a lot of work on your plate, because Red Bull aren't going to let you just poach everything that makes them good and suffer for it.
With that being said, do you want another really wacky outside take?
Here we go.
I'm going to say that
Aston Martin.
I'm going to say that Christian Horner ends up as Aston Martin's team principal.
What, they sack Newey mid-season?
They just throw money at it. And they go, Horner, you worked your magic.
Listen, Adrian, I know you wanted to be a team principal and all, but I think you need to get back in the design office, mate.
Exactly. I can see Horner jumping in. I can.
It's not a crazy take. And like I said, I think we do see Horner back this year.
But where?
From what I've read recently, there's currently a bit of a bidding war for a stake in Alpine between Christian Horner and, wait for it, Toto Wolff, which could be very interesting to see how that plays out.
I need to reload my eyebrows. That surprised me.
That's the news story I read. I mean, look, I'm not breaking the exclusive story here. That's might be some rubbish goss I've read on Twitter, but that is apparently the case, that there is a bit of a bidding war for a 20% stake in Alpine at the moment that Horner's desperate to get, and Toto's desperate to stop him getting, so is matching his bid. But we'll see how all that plays out. And like I said, I do think we see him again this season. I'd be surprised if we don't. That's for sure.
Shall we look forward? That's enough reviewing for today. Shall we look forward to Singapore?
No, because it's China next. Reece is just skipping out half the season. He's like, we won't record again, probably to the end of the season. So let's just do Singapore next.
I was meant to say Shanghai.
Listen, no, before we do, I want to just talk a little bit about Mercedes. I think we need to give Mercedes their flowers really quickly before we do wrap up the Australian Grand Prix, because there was a clip in there that we both said that's going to go viral from qualifying when George set that unbelievable lap that was way ahead of everyone else. That smile. It was the smile, wasn't it? It was the smile from Toto.
Do you want me to, can I have a go?
You go for one as well.
I can't not smile though first. Hang on.
Oh, the eyebrows.
He did the eyebrows. Of course he did.
Yeah, he knows he's got a rocket ship, and I think that Mercedes, you've got to give them their flowers. They've built an unbelievable car.
Oh, 1,000,000%.
And we knew it going in, didn't we? A little bit. We all said, like, if there's one team you're going to put your money behind going into a hybrid regulations change, it's got to be Mercedes, because they've done it before. They'll do it again.
The faces that Toto was pulling all weekend is the face of a man who's gone, hey, you doubted me, but look at me now.
Yeah. Yeah, he looked great. And to be honest, I think testament to how good that car is, George didn't really put a foot wrong in that race.
Oh.
Kimi did. He put a few feet wrong, and it was still fast enough to come through and get him second pretty comfortably.
Kimi was doing the cha-cha slide all over the track. That's how many feet he was putting wrong.
Off the start of the race, I think he fell down to P4, 5, 6?
Yep.
He did look great, but look, that car's just a rocket ship. I think anyone would get something out of that.
The only thing I'm worried about with this new era and the new cars is cars ended up, there was two of them. I think it was an Alpine and a Williams. I might be wrong. Correct me in the comments. I think that getting stranded, getting bogged down on the grid is going to be a real dangerous issue if that's not sorted.
It was the Racing Bull, and it was Colapinto in the Alpine that pulled off an unbelievable save, cutting around the outside of him. Yeah, look, I think that will be a real talking point. And I think, kind of like I said earlier, it'll probably take a couple rounds and go away because people get used to the starts.
Yeah.
I think it also didn't help that literally the last light was on for a millisecond before it went out.
Well, the very cheeky light boy or something Charles Leclerc referred to him as.
I don't know if you saw it, but literally it went 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, you turned to me and said, "Did that even light up?"
Yeah,
because it was a split second.
And there was also the whole new starting procedure where it says ready your engines or something like that with a blue light beforehand, and then they all start revving their engines. Yeah. It's going to be a weird new set of regulations to get used to.
The only thing,
it's so awful that come the end of it, they just decide, let's go back to the V10s.
Yeah, the only thing that worries me when watching F1, we like to watch a crash. Let's be honest, we all love a crash. What we don't want to see is someone get hurt, and when they get hurt, it's normally because they are a sitting duck and someone's driving into them at 50, 60 mile an hour. And
yeah, obviously we don't want to see that,
and that is my main worry. I will be uncomfortable watching the starts until I see that not happening anymore.
Yeah, for sure. But we kind of spoke at the start about these regulations and them being better racing, worse qualifying, and I think you need to just ask yourself at the end of the day, do you want the perfect, unbelievable cars that are always on the limit that look great? Or do you want something that's more, messy cars that deliver proper action in your races? I mean, how many races last season did we see 6 cars DNF from?
Yeah.
I think in this one?
Yeah.
It didn't happen. Last year's cars were so refined, so perfect, so fast that really as soon as qualifying was your highlight. Once those lights went out, you got a couple of overtakes. No one really DNF'd, and it was pretty boring racing.
Yeah.
It was the opposite of that this time. I think these regulations have a future.
Yes.
They just need a bit of time for everyone to get used to them, everyone find out what works for them so that no team, Mercedes, have a massive advantage.
Got a bit of a tickly throat.
On a level playing field, I think this is good racing.
Very much so. Can we stop reviewing now?
China. Let's get on to the predictions then. China, and unfortunately, now we've seen a race, I feel like these might be quite similar from us.
Okay, I will let you. I feel like I'm going to shock you with mine. Not my poll, though. Shall I give poll first?
Give me all of yours first.
Oh, I don't want to. Can I give you poll first, and then you give me all of yours, and then I'll give you the rest of mine? Fine.
Okay.
Right, Paul is George.
What?
What?
You think George Russell's going to be on pole?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, good
I
shout.
also think that P1 is George.
Yeah, okay.
I think that P2 is Lewis Hamilton. I think that P3 is Kimi Antonelli. Tell me we've done the exact same thing.
No, we haven't. I'll have to change my mind because I too thought similar. I'm going to swap Kimi and Lewis around.
Okay,
I think Lewis is P3.
Do you know what I want
Kimi's
to do
P2.
then? Do you know what I want to do then? Because I put him in at 4th because I did top 5. Not that we do top 5s, I was just looking at it. I want to take Kimi off my podium and I want to put Max Verstappen on it as 3rd.
So you want George George, Lewis, Max.
Yes.
That's your prediction.
No. Yes. Lock it in.
Lock it in.
Lock it in.
All right. There's your graphic on screen now of this week's predictions. We'll update that with the scores once we have them next week. It's going to be George, Kimmy, Lewis for me. It's going to be George, Lewis, Max for Reece.
Got to keep it interesting, baby. Got to keep it interesting.
Let's see how it goes. The points, it's 7 Reece, me 3. Hopefully that changes next week. There's nice little options for some changes there as long as Max crashes in qualifying again.
What I will say, Tom, is when they said, what's the point? I don't think they were meaning for a points update. They were just meaning, what's the point?
Yeah. Right.
Got us there.
Nice. Cool. Right. Well, China. Lots to look forward to. We'll see you on the flip side, maybe sooner than a week almost afterwards, half a week afterwards. We'll try and get it to you.
Day of. Recorded day of.
Are you edited again?
Recorded day of. I can't wait to see my graphic.
He's promising checks he can't cash.
My graphic's going to look sick, by the way, on this.
Yeah. We'll see how that comes out.
Thank you.
Perfect. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.